Let me turn you up a bit. Okay.
Uh, Maybe it's
Actually.
okay now.
Oh, yep, that's much better actually. All right. Well, so this is a Q and A, right? Let me see.
Yes.
Okay. So, I guess you can just fire off whatever questions you have. You can just go right away.
Actually, I have a problem with like my champion pool,
Okay.
and I want to improve it. I
Okay.
play so many champion, but
Mhm.
I'm good at some champion, but I don't know how can I make good champion pool.
Okay. So first off, there's really no such thing as a good champion pool. That's like a common like misconception. Uh, you don't actually. There's nothing that defines a good champion pool. It really just comes. It just works this way. Um, the more champions you play, the harder it will be. Because you have to learn all about the
Yeah,
champion, all their matchups, all that stuff. Um, so it really just comes down to how difficult, the difficulty to fun ratio, right? Like if you can't have fun unless you can play like three champions, then you can pick any three champions you want. They're all fine. There's no champ that it can't climb. There's no champ that like won't work at a certain elo or whatever. You can pick any champion you want. It really just comes down to whatever you have fun with, and the more champions you pick, the harder it will be. That's all.
yeah. Okay. So, like, should I pick three champions that different from each other? Like totally different?
No, they can be all really similar. You could play Vel'Koz, Ziggs, Lux. They're all very similar, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I have second question is usually I try to plan before the game,
Mm-hmm.
like how the laning phase should be,
Mm-hmm.
but I struggle with the like the goals for the some like if I aim to like let's just say like if I aim for 10 CS per minute
Okay.
or the highest possible I can do, uh, but I forgot. I can't focus on other things like roaming and Sikrim, the fights in the river or something like that. I usually play mid lane, so I struggle with that. How should I learn the fundamental or the aspect of the game altogether, or should I focus on something, then the other thing, then the other thing?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So this is a good question, and I can tell you exactly what you want to focus on. So, if you want to either write it down or I could just like kind of type it,
Okay,
um, but whatever's up to you because I know whatever you might want
I
to.
can write it.
Okay.
I
Cool.
can write it.
So the most important thing to focus on, uh, for any elo, and you want to refine this. You want to refine laning to the best of your ability. That's where all your mental energy should go at first. Laning, and when I mean laning, that means not wards. Warding isn't even a part of laning. What I'm talking about, I mean like focus on like how to trade, like your matchups, wave control, all that stuff. Like everything that goes into laning that's not warding, tracking the jungler, all that stuff.
Yeah.
The 1v1 aspect.
What happened in the lane specifically?
Yeah. Because that dictates everything. Like, so for example, you can have one player that doesn't die to a single gank ever, but they
Yeah.
never win lane. They just go even. They go 0-0 every game. They never die to ganks, nothing. That player won't really climb. But you have another player who dies to a lot of ganks, but in their games, they're winning lane like 80% of the time. They're getting kills. They're pressuring. They will climb,
Yeah.
if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yes.
Um,
Um, the second thing. Oh,
uh,
this is
well, and the next thing I kind of wanted to talk about was so you said I can't focus on like lane or getting 10 CS per minute and roaming and all that. So roaming, like you don't have to roam every game. Roaming is you only roam when it's like last resort type thing. So you roam
like
when you get priority in your lane, meaning like you push the wave. and then that means you have free time after you pushed, right?
Recently I usually play Talia. Like I have fun with Talia actually,
Okay, yeah,
but but to utilize the ults, the ultimate, I should run with it, right? Or
yeah. So like sometimes, like if you go to Rome with Talia, your alt can make it easier. Like, yeah, you can like get the bot lane
yes,
faster and cut people off, but there should be plenty of games where you don't roam at all and use your
yeah,
alt at all in laning phase to like go to bot lane or something.
yeah,
It all depends, and because a really really common mistake in low elo is low elo players trying to roam to their losing laners, thinking they need to like help them. That just it doesn't
no,
work that way.
if it's benefit me, I think if it's benefit me, I will go.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly how you want to think about it. As long as it looks like there's something for you to get and it's not too dangerous to throw your lead. Yeah, so you always want to focus on like winning your lane, and then if like they're playing too safe and you can't win your lane any harder, you just push the wave. Maybe look for a roam. Maybe try to kill the enemy jungler, something like that. But anyway, back to like the things to focus on. So laning was number one.
Yeah,
Everything else after that, it's not as important in an order, but you want to focus on like one thing at a time when trying to apply things. So like you were saying, like looking, I think you were saying like looking at the mini map and like
yeah,
CSing and stuff like that. So it's like anything that you're struggling with, like looking at the mini map or whatever it may be. If you have like all these different things that you know you're trying to get better at, don't try to get better at all of them at once.
yeah,
Like put your mental energy into one thing at a time, because that's like kind of what makes this game hard for a lot of people. It's tracking all of these things at once, right? And
yeah.
doing all of these things and thinking about all these things. So if you just implement it one by one to the point where it's like autopilot, like when I'm tracking the jungler in my games, I'm not actually thinking about it really. I'm just like, uh, what's the word?
I think I get it, but
Right.
like a feeling
Yeah,
maybe.
it's just like I don't know that I'm doing it, but I'm doing it. Like I'm always looking at the mini map without knowing I'm doing it. Right? It's just autopilot already. It's just
Yeah,
natural. Yeah, second nature, muscle memory. So like
but
that.
I don't play jungle, so like I know some. Maybe I can jungle, track the jungle,
Mhm.
but mm, like sometime in my illos, it's hard. Like
Yeah,
they don't know how to bath actually.
yeah. No, that's normal. Tracking the jungler is something that you don't. So like you don't have to know exactly how they path. The best way for you to track the jungler, especially since like this is a down the line concept that you don't need to track them that well. All you need to focus on right now is like let's say you see them ganking somewhere. Okay,
Yeah,
I know the jungler's top side. Okay, that's all you have to keep in mind. Okay, he's top side. I'm gonna hug the bot side of the lane. That's all.
yeah,
That's like
yeah.
the furthest you should go with it, really.
Okay.
Or like if you
Um,
see the enemy jungler gank top and they're like half HP, and you just pushed your wave in, you could
yes.
be like, oh, he might do Gromp now. I'll go to Gromp and maybe kill him there, something like that. But yeah, you don't
Yeah.
actually have to try to know exactly how they path and stuff like that.
Okay. Mm, it's the like I struggle with like sometime the team goes behind and I am the only one who I can say even or ahead sometime.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to me to carry the game.
Yeah.
What's really carry mean? Like how should I carry?
Okay. Yeah, that's a great question. So let's say you're the only fed one and everyone else is behind. Actually, let's even start with you said if you're even. If you're even, game's really hard, and that's why it's so important to understand how to win lane. You should win lane almost every single game because lower the
But like
players.
my champion, like Talia, it's bad early game or like to mid game, and my I play Kale too, so it's bad. It's like hard to win lane, kill or take some kill or like this, especially with Kale. Like
Yeah. So
I
wait, I think I when did I play that kill game? Chad, do you remember when I played that kill game? I played a kill game like 2 days ago or something on stream, and it's in like
Yes.
low diamond, and like I killed the enemy laner level 1. So like, point is, it doesn't matter who you play actually. You
Yeah.
can win lane on anyone. When I play Talia, I'll win lane every time, even though she is weak the first few levels. You don't actually winning lane doesn't a lot of the time doesn't come down to, especially mid lane, it doesn't come down to how strong your champ is, weak or early or late. It just comes down to like fundamental things and playing towards your win condition. So for Kale, one of her win conditions is like she can all in someone level 1. She's strong level 1.
Yeah. I know that.
And like I'll abuse that in mid lane when they try to fight me. Talia, she has good wave clear. Like she does like a kind of like
Yeah.
low damage early, but she can push the wave and use the minions to
Yeah.
defend her. Right.
Yeah.
So these are the things that actually will let you win lane. And there should be no matchup in mid lane where you just can't win if they're not like, because like I said, low the players. Wait, what elo are you in?
Silver.
Okay, yeah. There's not a single player in that elo that will ever come close to knowing how to lane. So like there's so many mistakes. Like almost everything they do is wrong in laning phase.
Yeah.
So you have so much to abuse, and you just have to like know what those are, spot them, and punish it.
Yeah.
Now, once you get fed, if your teammates are all losing and you're fed, first thing is you have to basically your process, your thought process should be to not to like keep pushing your lead. Meaning you should never be like missing a wave to go roam and not get anything for it. If you lost a wave for nothing, that's just throwing, and now you lost a little bit of your lead. So you should be pushing your lead or maintaining it.
Yeah.
Not like, don't just give in to the fiesta, the constant fighting that happens in mid lane. Make sure you're not just dropping a bunch of side waves. Every game is going to have a different. It's all about win conditions. So let's say, okay, so let's say it's really hard to win 5v5 because your teammates are really far behind and you are having trouble carrying the 5v5. So that means you can look for something like pushing a side wave safely, and then someone comes down and grabs that wave, and then you use your ult and your like good like map movement as Talia
Yeah.
to start a fight in mid lane 5v4, something like that.
Yeah.
Or let's say, yeah, same scenario, you can't win 5v5. So you can push a side wave, go wait in the jungle, wait for a squishy to come rotate and grab that wave, and you get a pick in the jungle.
Yeah.
So like these are the things you'll have to do to carry if like you can't win a 5v5. Sometimes you can carry a 5v5. That it depends on who the enemy team has, but it's basically like you don't want to, if you're like really far ahead, if you're fed and you're just going in and like getting 1 kill and dying, or getting 2 kills and dying, a lot of the time that's not going to be enough. You need to make sure you are surviving the fight. Like you need to be staying alive and outputting as much damage as possible, which is actually relatively easy as Talia. She does so much damage and it's hard to get to her if you're positioning right. But
Yeah.
there is no real answer to like what does it mean to carry. It's just all about understanding what your win condition is and trying to like play around that. It's a tough answer to actually, just because there's so many different scenarios, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But usually, like the win can. What is the scenarios for win condition? Like, should I go to the to the Fed player in my team, or should I play like the 5v? What is the scenarios? What should I think before I recognize the win condition for the game?
Um,
Like from the start, and then uh, maybe in the game itself.
yeah. So this is another tough one, but what, like on your train of thought when you were talking about like Fed members on your team, let's say you have a Fed ADC, then yeah, you'll want to. That's like, if you're Fed and your ADC is Fed, yeah, you should be team fighting for sure. So you'll be pushing, going towards your ADC. But the thing is, in low elo, people are going to be making so many mistakes that if you just blindly follow your teammates and what they're doing,
Yeah.
you're gonna get yourself killed too. So it's like, it's like trying to think of the best way to put it.
Okay.
Like if even if your ADC's fed, but you know that you're supposed to be going to top side, or um if you're supposed to be going top because a wave's there, or you know you're supposed to go to Baron but your ADC's going to Dragon, it doesn't mean you just follow them. It's like you
Yeah.
need to know what you're supposed to do to win that game, and if your teammates don't know it and they're not doing it, you can't really
Mm.
control that, and you just have to keep focusing on what you're doing until, because like a lot of times your teammates can be doing the wrong thing, and if you go in and follow them, you'll die too. So instead, you just have to let them die, and then hope that the next time they all come back to life, then you can do what like you're supposed to do, like group
Yeah.
and fight
Okay.
or whatever. But yeah, it's solo queue is just about dealing with all the randomness that is in it between different teammates,
Yeah.
different champions, all that stuff.
Okay. I get it. Mm.
It's a tough question to answer fully, but yeah.
I get it actually. Like, can I ask like about Talia? Like, what is the best build or best runes for her?
Sure, yeah. So like if you're ever curious about something like this, the best thing to do would be to like go to u.gg and look at what the pros are building, or Talia players in general are building. So like I like Everfrost. I like Everfrost with Electrocute. Um, Pro players, some of them will go First Strike, Dark Harvest. Dark Harvest mainly the jungle though. Um,
Mm.
but I've tried all the different items on Talia. I've tried Ludens, Everfrost. I think Everfrost just gives you the most reliable like setup for your combo, your WE combo.
Yes.
Um, and then after Everfrost, it really that's when it becomes like situational to the game. So if they have like no MR at all, Shadow Flame really really good. Um, if if they are a team with not many dashes, if they just have like movement speed, like um, Lulu, let's say they're junglers. Let me think. Let's just say Sejuani or something. Top lane is Garen. So like, yeah, champs with not many dashes. Then Riley's is super nice on
Yeah.
Talia.
Usually I take highlights like maybe every game.
Yeah.
I can. I don't know. Maybe it's
Well,
good. I
the
took
the real problem
them.
is with like a slow is that it doesn't. So you can slow a Riven, right? But her dashes don't get slowed,
Yeah.
right? So like it doesn't do anything to her.
Yeah.
That's like why I wouldn't build Riley's versus like a lot of dashes, a dash heavy team. But it's still a really good item.
Okay. But like if they have dashes, the E I think it's good.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. The E is good. It's just that like that only stuns them once, right? So Riley's is definitely a good item. It's just it's definitely not an item you should be getting every single game. It's something that you need to learn when to get it and when not to. Because like if they have a bunch of dashes, like if they have an Ari or something, and you go Shadow Flame second instead of Riley's, you could be like one shotting her if you have the Shadow Flame. With Riley's, it's going to take you a few more. It might take you a few more Qs, so you might not get that kill, right? So like it's just you're missing out on some damage.
yeah.
But yeah, I like Electrocute rune wise.
Electrocute.
Just because she
Actually,
does so much damage.
I go like multiple setup. Like I don't know what should I go actually. Sometimes I go first strike and electrocute. Sometimes I tried summon airy like for once. I don't know.
Yeah, me too. I tried like all the runes with her. I definitely like Electrocute the most. But I think Ares totally viable. I think Dark. I mean, I think.
Actually,
Go ahead.
I go airy like for uh, I was facing Irelia. Like I need to do some damage early on because I don't want her to like one shot me or all in me. Sorry.
Okay,
So
so
uh,
Ares actually not too great versus Irelia because she heals through all of the damage anyway, like any poke. Ares good for poke. So Ares best when you're against something like Fizz, Cassidon, anything that you can constantly auto them to keep proccing the
yeah,
Aerie.
yeah.
So Irelia is like the one melee champ that where it really doesn't do much for you. But even then, I really only go oh yeah, Yasuo because your Aerie can pop his shield.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's when Ares good, just against those certain matchups. Otherwise, Electrocute's still good versus those as well. It's just
So can I spam like play only electrocute
yeah,
against all these matchups?
yep. You can go only Electrocute every game if you wanted. That's totally fine.
Secondary, should I go say Gathering Storm or because I
Secondary,
like Gathering Storm. I don't know, like I like this rules specific ones, but maybe it's
I
overrated.
personally am not a big fan of Gathering Storm. I've always liked so I would go Mana Flow and then like either
Transcendence,
Transcendence. You could even go what's it called? Shit. What's that thing called?
Sealer, and the
Absolute
Sorcery tree.
Focus. Absolute
Oh,
Focus.
so-
Yeah.
yeah.
So I like to go Mana Flow, Absolute Focus, or Mana Flow, even Scorch into matchups like Cassidon or anything that you want to like really poke down early. I am not a big fan of Gathering Storm though.
Why is that? Because sometimes I feel like the game would take like 30 minutes, or
Uh huh.
like usually my games take 30 minutes.
Yep.
So I
And
don't know.
yeah, no, it's pretty. My logic behind it is that the most important part of the game is the early game. You know, first 15 minutes. So I want my runes to give me everything I want, like give me the most power in the early game because
Okay,
to make my lane strong, to make sure I can get as big of a lead as possible, because then I don't need Gathering Storm.
okay. So should I go like electrocute, taste of blood, eyeball collection, and maybe ultimate hunter, and secondary go like mana flow band and transcendence or absolute focus,
You should
like
definitely go cheap shot
cheap
for
shot.
domination tree. Yeah, cheap shot's super good on Tilia. And then I would go eyeball collection second. And then for the third row, it's actually you basically can choose between treasure hunter, ingenious hunter, or relentless hunter. I personally like ingenious hunter for more Everfrost. Uh,
I
treasure
don't.
hunter
You
works
don't
fine
recommend
too.
the ultimate hunter at all?
Now, Ultimate Hunter is not too great on Talia because your ult isn't really that big of a deal when it comes to like your actual champion strength. Like having your ult up more often just doesn't do that much for you compared to having more Everfrost or more gold or
Yeah.
more movement speed.
Okay.
But yeah, those actually won't even it like you don't have to be too. You can try a bunch of like different things there. As long as you're going electrocute and like sorcery second, you'll be fine. The ones you choose in those two trees won't be that big of a deal, really. But those are the ones I would go. The ones I said.
Okay. My last question is about like the gaining LP and losing. Before maybe like 1 week ago, I was like gaining 9 LP or 10 LP and losing 18.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
now actually I make it like 14 LP, losing 14 LP and gaining 13 LP. So what should I do to like to make it good?
Yeah.
Because
So
it's tilting me actually.
yeah. So LP gains just come down to MMR. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming, are you silver four?
Yes, I like I demoted myself for bronze. Then I go back to silver to like I thought it will help my MMR. Maybe it's work. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, so if you're in silver 4, I figure you were in silver 4 because if you get to silver 4 and you go to 0 LP and you start losing, your MMR is still dropping even though if you're not losing LP,
Yeah,
right? So that's when you
yeah,
start to get bad gains.
yeah,
To fix it, there's only really one answer, sadly, and it's just you just have to keep playing, keep winning. You have to just win more than you lose for a while, and then it starts to fix. Um, but yeah, it can be pretty annoying. Um, I guess there's no decaying in low elo. In high elo,
no,
you could just let yourself decay, but um, yeah. So really, the only thing you can do is keep playing, keep winning, and to be honest,
yeah,
you really shouldn't worry about your LP gains too much because like if you if you're getting better, if you like all you should focus on is just improving because if you improve, you'll climb like that'll take care of itself. You will climb. Like if I have really bad LP gains and I'm playing in low elo, I'm not going to get stuck. Like I'm just going to keep winning. My MMR will fix itself, and then I'll keep climbing. So like, don't focus on your LP gains too much. Just focus on getting better, winning more than you're losing, which will happen if you're focusing on getting better, and then your MMR will fix itself, and you'll get better gains.
yeah. Okay. I have can I book with you a session to, I think, review replays,
Yeah.
like for now, or when it's what's good time for you if I
Um.
want?
So if you go through Metafy, you'll see like my hours. Um.
Yeah.
So you can just pick whatever works well for you, and if it's like not a good time for me, I'll let you know. But it's kind of rare if it's not a good time for me. Um.
Okay.
But yeah, you can. I would just choose the VOD review option on there,
The
and
VOD review.
or if you want it cheaper, you can do. There was the on stream one where it's like $50 instead of 60, and it's cheaper. It's the same thing, but it's on stream, so it's stream content, so it's
Oh,
cheaper.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
That's it.
That's it. Cool. Well, I would if you're planning on getting like a coaching session, like a 1 hour VOD review type thing, I would go play some games, try your absolute hardest to like focus and just do everything, or like yeah, play some games and try to get one where you have like a lot of pain points, like a lot of things that you're just like weren't sure what you were supposed to do. Um,
Yeah.
why couldn't I win? Why was I losing lane? Why couldn't I carry? Stuff like that, and then we'll take a look at it.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yes.
Okay. Well, if that's everything, you have a good night, and I will see you when you get a coaching session.
Okay. Thank you.
See ya.